First contact's deception. The signal came from the depths of space, pulsing with mathematical precision from somewhere beyond Pluto's orbit. Admiral Victoria Blackwood stood in the Antarctic deep space listening post, her breath forming clouds in the frigid air as she studied the holographic representation of the signal pattern. After 30 years of searching the stars, humanity had finally received its first proof of intelligent alien life. Analysis confirms it's artificial. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Reza Patul reported, his dark eyes reflecting the blue glow of his monitoring station. The signal contains embedded mathematical sequences too precise to be natural phenomena. The year was 2157, and humanity had spread throughout the solar system, establishing colonies on Mars, mining operations in the asteroid belt, and research stations on Europa. But they had never encountered another civilization. Until now. What's the source? Blackwood asked, her weathered face masking decades of experience in Earth's Space Force. It appears to be some kind of beacon, ma'am. Based on our calculations, it's been there for at least 1,000 years, waiting to be discovered by a civilization advanced enough to detect it. The implications were staggering. Not only was there intelligent life out there, but they had been watching, waiting for humanity to reach a certain level of development. The question was, why? Within hours, the news spread across Earth and its colonies. The beacon's message, once decoded, revealed itself to be an invitation. The Galactic Confederation, a coalition of advanced species, had deemed humanity ready for contact. They requested a diplomatic delegation to attend a formal introduction at their nearest outpost, a massive space station orbiting a neutron star 40 light-years from Earth. Earth's Global Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from every nation and colony gathered in the underground chambers of New Geneva to debate humanity's response. Admiral Blackwood found herself standing before them, presenting her analysis of the situation. The beacon's technology is far beyond our current capabilities, she explained, gesturing to the holographic displays. The power required to maintain a quantum-entangled communication device for thousands of years is astronomical. We're dealing with a civilization that could either be our greatest ally or our greatest threat. The council chambers erupted in heated discussion. Some argued for caution, others for immediate acceptance. In the end, pragmatism won out. Humanity couldn't afford to appear fearful or hesitant in its first contact with galactic civilization. A diplomatic mission was assembled, led by Ambassador Diane Katsaros, a veteran negotiator known for her sharp intuition and unshakable composure. The newly commissioned starship Prometheus would carry the Earth delegation, its experimental quantum drive modified based on principles learned from studying the beacon. Before their departure, Blackwood pulled Katsaros aside in the ship's observation deck. Beyond the reinforced windows, Earth hummed like a blue jewel against the black velvet of space. "Something about this doesn't feel right," Blackwood said quietly. "The timing is too perfect. Just as we're beginning to expand beyond our solar system, they suddenly decide we're worthy of contact." Katsaros nodded, her silver hair catching the starlight. "I know. That's why I requested specific members for my team." She handed Blackwood a secure data tablet. "These aren't just diplomats. They're our best xenolinguists, physicists, and military analysts. If there's something hidden beneath the surface of this invitation, we'll find it." The journey to the Confederation outpost took 3 months, even with the enhanced drive. As they traveled, the delegation studied everything they could learn from the beacon's data. They developed protocols for first contact, prepared diplomatic strategies, and ran countless simulations of potential scenarios. But nothing could have prepared them for what they found. The Confederation outpost was a marvel of engineering, a structure larger than Earth's moon, its surface gleaming with lights and energy fields that defy human understanding. As the Prometheus approached, they received their first visual contact with alien life. The station's traffic control officers were tall, ethereal beings with translucent skin and multiple sets of arms. "Welcome, Earth delegation," The alien controller's message came through in perfect English, translated by advanced AI. You are about to join a community of species that has maintained peace and order in this galaxy for 10,000 years. Something in the controller's tone made Ambassador Katsaros's intuition flare. The words were welcoming, but there was an undertone that reminded her of a spider welcoming a fly into its web. As the Prometheus docked, Katsaros gathered her team for a final briefing. "Remembered," she said, "we represent not just Earth, but all of human history, every triumph, every failure, every lesson learned. We're here to extend a hand in friendship, but we keep our guard up. Trust your instincts." They were escorted through the station's massive corridors by robotic guides, passing beings of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, others were so alien that human minds struggled to comprehend their forms. But Katsaros noticed something odd. Despite the station's size and the supposed number of member species, the corridors seemed strangely empty. Their first meeting was scheduled with the Confederation's Advisory Council, supposedly a junior body that helped new species integrate into galactic society. As they entered the council chamber, Katsaros felt a chill run down her spine. The 7 alien representatives seated before them weren't junior anything. She could sense the weight of eons in their grave, silent regard. Humanity. The central figure spoke, its form shifting like smoke given shape. You stand at a crossroads. Your species has shown remarkable progress, but also concerning tendencies. We are here to help guide you toward a more stable future. As Katsaros listened to the council's honeyed words about peace, cooperation, and shared prosperity, her trained diplomatic senses detected the carefully hidden threats beneath. When they spoke of guidance, she heard control. When they mentioned stability, she recognized the same arguments used by empires throughout human history to justify oppression. But it was what she saw in the station's restricted archives, accessed by one of her covert team members, that confirmed her worst fears. The Confederation wasn't a benevolent alliance. It was a carefully constructed system of control, designed to identify and contain species before they could become strong enough to challenge the existing order. Humanity hadn't been invited because they were ready. They'd been invited because they were becoming a threat. The price of trust. In the depths of the Confederation Station's restricted archives, Commander Julian Reeves stared at his datapad in disbelief. As the delegation's chief intelligence officer, disguised as a cultural attaché, he had expected to find some level of political maneuvering. What he discovered instead was genocide. "Ambassador," he whispered into his secure quantum communicator, "you need to see this." The classified records told a story that spanned thousands of years. Species after species discovered, evaluated, and then systematically stripped of their potential. Some were relegated to resource extraction colonies, others confined to single planets, their space travel capabilities mysteriously crippled by accidents. Those who resisted simply disappeared, their home systems marked as quarantine zones in Confederation records. Ambassador Katsaros received the transmission in her quarters, her face growing darker with each document she reviewed. The Confederation's true purpose wasn't to welcome new species, it was to prevent them from ever becoming true competitors. The 7 advisory council members were actually representatives of the original species, ancient civilizations that had decided eons ago that they alone could be trusted with true power. "Send this to Admiral Blackwood," she ordered. "Encrypted channel, maximum security. And Julian, be careful. If they catch you." The communication cut off abruptly. Katsaros felt her heart skip a beat as her room's lighting shifted to a deep red. Through her window, she could see emergency signals flashing across the station's superstructure. "Security breach detected," an artificial voice announced in multiple languages. "All diplomatic personnel are requested to remain in their quarters." In the archives, Reeves heard footsteps approaching. He quickly initiated his datapad's destruction sequence and pulled out what appeared to be a simple pen, in reality, a quantum-entangled emergency beacon. As the door slid open, revealing towering security drones, He clicked it once. Aboard the Prometheus, Captain Isabella Martinez received the emergency signal. Without hesitation, she initiated the protocols they had prepared for exactly this scenario. All hands, battle stations, she ordered. Initiate Protocol Omega. The Prometheus's seemingly decorative hull plates began shifting, revealing hidden weapon ports and shield generators. What the Confederation saw as a diplomatic vessel was actually humanity's most advanced warship, disguised as a civilian craft. But the Confederation had prepared for betrayal. Energy fields sprang up around the docking bay, trapping the Prometheus in place. Confederation warships emerged from concealed hangars, their weapons charged. "Attention Earth vessel," a cold voice transmitted. "Your species has proven itself unworthy of admission. Prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in immediate destruction." In her quarters, Katsuros heard heavy footsteps approaching. She calmly sat at her desk and activated a hidden command on her neural implant. Throughout the human quarter of the station, other delegation members did the same. The Confederation forces broke through her door, led by one of the Advisory Council members itself. Its smoky form had solidified into something more threatening, with edges that seemed to cut the light itself. "Did you truly believe we wouldn't detect your spying?" The council member's voice resonated in her skull. "We have guided civilization in this galaxy for longer than your species has walked upright. Did you think your primitive deceptions could fool us?" Katsuros smiled, a gesture that seemed to unsettle even the ancient being before her. "No," she replied. "We expected you to catch us, just like we expected this betrayal. We just needed to confirm what we already suspected, that your entire civilization is built on lies and fear." The council member moved closer, its form looming over her. "Then you understand why we cannot allow humanity to expand further. Your kind learns too quickly, adapts too readily. You would disrupt the harmony we have maintained for eons." "Harmony?" Katsuros laughed. "You mean stagnation. Control. The slow death of everything that makes civilization worth building." She stood, facing the ancient being without fear. "We study our history before coming here. Do you know what every empire that tried to maintain absolute control eventually faced?" Before the council member could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Captain Martinez's voice came through all communication channels. "This is the Earth ship Prometheus. We have detected multiple quantum fluctuations surrounding your station. It seems someone has activated several dozen experimental weapons." The council member's form rippled with what might have been surprise. Katsuros continued, "You see, we didn't just bring spies. Every member of our delegation carries within them a quantum destabilization device. Right now, your station's containment fields are the only things preventing them from detonating. You would destroy yourselves." The council member's voice held genuine confusion. "If necessary. But what we want is simple. The truth, broadcast to every species under your control. Show them what you really are, or find out if your precious station can survive 30 quantum ruptures." The next few hours were a blur of tense negotiations, not just with the Council, but with representatives of other species who had been monitoring the situation. Katsuros's gambit had worked. The threat of destruction had forced the Confederation to allow other species into the discussion. But even as she negotiated, Katsuros knew this was just the beginning. The Confederation would never forgive this challenge to their authority. They might be forced to let the human delegation leave, but retaliation would come. As the Prometheus finally broke free from the station, carrying the Earth delegation to safety, Katsuros sent one final message to Earth. "Prepare for war. Not just for us, but for every species they've enslaved. The Confederation won't stop until we're destroyed, or until we destroy their power forever." The message that reached Earth included all the evidence they had gathered, proving the Confederation's true nature. Admiral Blackwood, watching from Antarctic Command, immediately initiated humanity's contingency plans. They had hoped for peace but prepared for war, hiding weapons in civilian ships, building secret fleets in asteroid bases, developing technologies that the Confederation's ancient but stagnant civilization had never imagined. The price of discovering the truth had been high, but as Katsaros watched the station recede into the distance, she knew it had been worth it. Humanity now knew its enemy, and more importantly, they had shown other enslaved species that resistance was possible. The real war was about to begin. Hidden strengths. Fleet Admiral Marcus Okoro stood in the command center of Operation Shadowfall, buried 2 kilometers beneath the surface of Europa. The massive holographic display before him showed thousands of red dots representing Confederation forces moving through human space. They had expected this invasion. What the Confederation didn't expect was that humanity had been preparing for war since they first detected the alien beacon. Status of Project Prometheus, Okoro asked, his deep voice steady despite the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Director Yuki Tanaka, head of Earth's Special Weapons Division, stepped forward. Her augmented eyes glowed softly as she accessed secure data streams. The nanite swarms are ready, Admiral. Phase 1 can begin at your command. For 3 generations, humanity had maintained a facade of normal technological development while secretly pursuing paths the Confederation had never considered. While they built conventional ships and weapons in plain sight, hidden laboratories had developed technologies that would seem like magic even to their advanced enemies. The Confederation thinks they're dealing with a primitive species that just reached the stars, Okoro said, addressing the gathered military leaders. They expect energy weapons, basic kinetic shields, and predictable tactics. Instead, they're about to face something they've never encountered in their thousands of years of dominance. True innovation. On the main display, a new layer of information appeared, showing hundreds of seemingly innocent civilian ships scattered throughout human space. Each one carried a deadly secret. Swarms of self-replicating nanites designed to target specific molecular structures unique to Confederation technology. Begin transmission to our allies, Okoro ordered. Over the past months, Earth had made contact with dozens of species subjugated by the Confederation, promising them something they hadn't had in generations: hope. Lieutenant Commander Zara Hassan, their chief communications officer, sent the coded quantum signal. Message sent, sir. The Arcturus Resistance, Proxima Liberation Front, and Sirius Freedom Coalition all confirm receipt. They're standing by. The first wave of Confederation warships entered the Sol system, their massive forms distorting space itself. Their technology was incredible, refined over thousands of years, but that refinement had led to standardization. Every ship used the same basic principles, the same materials, the same tactics. They're broadcasting their ultimatum, Hassan reported. Standard demands: immediate surrender, submission to Confederation authority, and relocation of 90% of our population to supervised colonies. Okoro allowed himself a grim smile. Send our response. Across the Sol system, hundreds of seemingly harmless civilian vessels suddenly activated hidden systems. Clouds of microscopic machines burst forth, each one programmed with a single purpose: to dismantle Confederation technology at the molecular level. The effect was immediate and devastating. The invading ships' perfect crystalline hulls began to degrade, their energy shields flickering as the nanites consumed the very materials that powered them. Confederation commanders, faced with a weapon they had never seen in their long history, reacted with confusion and fear. But the nanite swarms were just the beginning. From hidden bases in the asteroid belt, humanity's real fleet emerged. These ships didn't rely on the predictable energy weapons the Confederation expected. Instead, they carried weapons based on principles that the ancient species had long ago dismissed as primitive or impossible. Launch the gravity bombs, Okoro commanded. These devices, developed in secret, created localized disruptions in spacetime itself. The Confederation's mighty shields, designed to deflect energy and matter, were useless against warped space itself. Director Tanaka's augmented eyes flashed as she monitored the battle data. The nanites have reduced their fleet's effectiveness by 60%. Their shields are failing across all sectors. They're trying to adapt, but they can't. Okoro finished. Because they've forgotten how to think in new ways. They've been the masters of space for so long that they've lost the ability to face the unexpected. The battle that followed would be remembered as humanity's first major victory against the Confederation. But more importantly, it was broadcast across the galaxy, showing every enslaved species that the unbeatable masters could be defeated. As the Confederation fleet retreated in disarray, reports began coming in from across known space. The Arcturus resistance had seized control of 3 major supply depots. The Proxima Liberation Front had freed 2 enslaved worlds. The Sirius Freedom Coalition had captured a Confederation data center, releasing proof of thousands of years of manipulation and control. In the command center, Okoro received a priority communication from Earth's Defense Council. The hologram of Admiral Blackwood appeared, her expression both proud and concerned. "Impressive work, Marcus," she said. "But this is just the beginning. The Confederation will regroup, adapt, and return with everything they have. They have to. We've not just defeated them, we've shattered the illusion of their invincibility." Okoro nodded. "We're ready for them. Every defeat they suffer spreads our nanite technology further into their systems. Every battle teaches us more about their weaknesses, and most importantly," he gestured to the display showing reports from resistance movements across the galaxy. "We're not fighting alone anymore. The next phase is critical," Blackwood warned. "We've shown the galaxy that the Confederation can be beaten, but their grip on power goes back thousands of years. They'll sacrifice anything to maintain control." "Let them try," Okoro replied. "Humanity spent centuries fighting among ourselves, advancing our technology, learning to adapt. The Confederation created an empire of stagnation. They've forgotten that true strength comes from change, from challenge, from the very chaos they try to suppress." As if to emphasize his words, another report came in. 3 more species had risen up against their Confederation overlords. The careful balance of power that had lasted for millennia was crumbling, and in its place, something new was being born. The war for the galaxy's future had truly begun, and humanity was leading the charge not just with superior weapons, but with something the Confederation had never expected: the power of hope, innovation, and the unquenchable desire for freedom. Breaking the chains. The Confederation's Central Archive world, Mnemosyne, had never faced a serious military threat in its 12,000 years of existence. Its defenses were considered impenetrable, its location known only to the highest levels of Confederation leadership. Yet now, aboard the stealth ship Silent Dawn, Commander Aria Rodriguez watched the crystalline planet through specially designed sensors that could pierce the Confederation's cloaking technologies. "Their own arrogance is their weakness," she whispered, studying the patrol patterns of the automated defense systems. "They never thought anyone would find this place, let alone dare to attack it." The Silent Dawn wasn't alone. Hidden in the gravitational shadow of the system's gas giant were 50 other ships, each carrying representatives from different species that had broken free from Confederation control. This wasn't just a human operation. It was the first truly unified strike by the newly formed alliance of free worlds. Signal from the Arcturus team. Lieutenant Kai Chen reported from his communication station. "Their quantum infiltrators have successfully penetrated the planetary defense grid. We have a 90-second window when the shields will be compromised." Rodriguez touched the neural interface at the base of her skull, connecting directly with the ship's systems. "All ships, prepare for synchronized jump. Remember, we're not here just for military victory. This is about truth, about exposing the lies that have kept the galaxy enslaved for millennia." The Alliance fleet had been preparing for this moment for months, while the main war raged across the galaxy, drawing the Confederation's military might into countless battles. This strike force had been assembled in secret. Their target wasn't the Confederation's military infrastructure, but something far more valuable: their historical records. 30 seconds to shield breach, Chen announced. Throughout the ship, crews made final preparations. Unlike traditional human vessels, the Silent Dawn was a hybrid of technologies from a dozen different species, each contributing their unique strengths to create something the Confederation had never encountered. Launch quantum ghosts, Rodriguez ordered. Developed by the Sirius Freedom Coalition, these devices created multiple quantum echoes of each ship, making it impossible for enemy targeting systems to determine which vessels were real and which were merely possibilities made manifest. The shield breach began with nothing more dramatic than a slight flicker in the planet's defensive screen. In that moment, 50 ships simultaneously jumped into the atmosphere, their quantum signatures scattered across thousands of possible locations. Confederation automated defenses reacted instantly, but their responses were predictable, the result of thousands of years of unchallenged supremacy. The Alliance fleet had trained specifically to exploit these patterns, weaving between energy beams and missile salvos with practiced precision. First wave, clear landing zones, Rodriguez commanded. Second wave, establish the quantum containment field. Third wave, begin data extraction. The operation had to be precise. They weren't here to destroy, but to preserve and reveal. The planet's surface was a maze of crystalline structures, each containing countless records of Confederation history. But the Alliance wasn't interested in the public archives. Their target lay beneath the surface. The true records, documenting every manipulation, every suppressed civilization, every engineered conflict that had maintained Confederation power. Ground teams deployed, Chen reported. The Proximan tech specialists are bypassing security systems. The Arcturus warriors are engaging defender drones. Human and Syrian teams are proceeding to the central archive. Rodriguez monitored the operation through her neural link, watching as the combined strengths of multiple species accomplished what none could have done alone. The Proximan's natural ability to manipulate electronic systems, the Arcturans' extraordinary physical capabilities, humanity's tactical innovation, and the Syrians' quantum technology, all working in perfect harmony. Alert! Chen's voice cut through the command center. Multiple Confederation capital ships detected entering the system. Their quantum signatures matched the High Council's personal fleet. This was expected, but it came sooner than anticipated. The High Council itself had emerged from its sanctuary, drawn out by the threat to their most closely guarded secrets. Their ships were unlike anything in the regular Confederation fleet, relics of their species' golden age, preserved and enhanced over millennia. All ships initiate Protocol Omega, Rodriguez ordered. Throughout the Alliance fleet, hidden systems activated. The quantum ghosts synchronized, creating a maze of possible realities that even the Council's advanced sensors couldn't penetrate. Ground team reporting, Chen announced. They've reached the central archive. Beginning data transfer. Wait. His voice faltered. Commander, you need to see this. Through her neural link, Rodriguez received the first images from the archive's core. What they found wasn't just records of Confederation control. It was evidence of something far more disturbing. The High Council weren't just rulers. They were parasites, feeding off the creative energy of younger species, using their dominance to sustain their own fading civilization. Get that data out to every communication hub in known space, Rodriguez commanded. The galaxy needs to see what they really are. The High Council's ships entered attack range, their weapons capable of reducing planets to ash. But they hesitated, knowing that destroying their own archive world would be an admission of guilt they couldn't afford. All ships, execute scatter pattern Delta, Rodriguez ordered. The Alliance fleet broke formation, each vessel becoming the center of its own cloud of quantum possibilities. Begin broadcast. Across every frequency, on every channel, the Confederation used to maintain control, the truth began to spread. Not just of their crimes, but of their fundamental weakness, their dependence on the very species they oppressed. The battle that followed would be remembered not for its violence, but for its precision. The Alliance fleet danced through the Council's attacks, their quantum-shifted ships impossible to target effectively. More importantly, with each passing moment, more data streamed out to the galaxy, breaking chains of control that had lasted for thousands of years. "The Council ships are pulling back," Chen reported, amazement in his voice. They're retreating." Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. They know it's too late. The truth is out now, and it will spread faster than they can contain it. As the Alliance fleet secured the archive world, reports began flowing in from across the galaxy. Confederation control systems were failing as subject species, armed with the truth and inspired by the Alliance's success, rose up against their ancient masters. The High Council hadn't just lost a battle, they had lost the foundation of their power. The age of secrets and control was ending, and something new was being born in its place. "Send word to Alliance Command," Rodriguez ordered. "Phase 4 is complete. The final phase can begin." A new dawn. The ancient space station Eternist hung in the void between galaxies, its vast structure a testament to the height of Confederation power. This was the true seat of the High Council, hidden for millennia in the darkness between stars. Now the combined fleets of the Alliance of Free Worlds surrounded it, led by the newly commissioned flagship Democracy's Light. Admiral Victoria Blackwood stood on the bridge, her white hair and lined face reflecting the battles of the past year. Beside her, representatives from 20 formerly enslaved species monitored their stations, each bringing their unique abilities to this final confrontation. "Status report," Blackwood commanded, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's long journey from first contact to this moment. "The Council's outer defenses are adapting to our quantum ghost technology," reported Keetle, the Proximan strategic officer, his crystalline form shimming with neural activity. "They're learning, finally. After thousands of years, we forced them to innovate." "Too little, too late," Blackwood replied. "Launch the phase disruptors." Across the Alliance fleet, ships released clouds of microscopic machines, the evolution of the nanite technology that had won their first victory. But these weren't simple destroyers. They carried something far more dangerous to the Council: change. "My ancestors helped build this station," said Elder Vira of the Syrian Freedom Coalition, her multifaceted eyes analyzing ancient energy patterns. "The Council forced us to forget our own history, but the knowledge remained buried in our genetic memory. Eternus has a weakness. It was designed to be perfect, unchanging. And that's exactly why it will fall." The phase disruptors reached the station's outer hull, beginning their work. Instead of destroying the ancient structure, they began to transform it, introducing chaos into its perfectly ordered systems. The station's defenses, designed to resist any external attack, had no way to cope with internal evolution. "Incoming transmission," announced Commander Hassan. "The High Council is requesting parley." A laugh rippled through the bridge, not of mockery, but of achievement. The beings who had refused to even acknowledge other species as equals were now asking for dialogue. "Put them through," Blackwood ordered. "All channels, all frequencies. Let everyone hear this." The holographic form of the High Council materialized on the bridge, 7 beings of pure energy, their forms barely contained by ancient technology. They had long since abandoned physical form, believing it to be beneath them. "You cannot comprehend what you are destroying." The first speaker's voice resonated in multiple dimensions. "We are the guardians of order, the preservers of stability. Without us, the galaxy will descend into chaos." "We understand exactly what we're destroying," Blackwood replied. "A system that sacrificed growth for control, that chose stagnation over evolution. We've seen your records, learned your true history. You're not guardians. You're parasites, feeding off the suppressed potential of younger races because you lost your own ability to grow." The phase disruptors continued their work, and across the station, systems began to change, to evolve. The perfect crystalline structures became organic, adaptive. The rigid energy patterns gained flexibility. "You think this is victory?" The first speaker's form flickered with what might have been fear. "You're releasing forces you cannot control. The galaxy needs guidance. Needs. The galaxy needs freedom, interrupted Eldervira. Freedom to make mistakes, to learn, to grow. Just as our ancestors had before you enslaved them. Just as humanity proved was still possible. Blackwood stepped forward, addressing not just the Council, but all the beings watching across the galaxy. We're not here to destroy you, but to force you to change. Your time as unquestioned rulers is over. Join us in building something new, or fade into history as a cautionary tale. The station's transformation accelerated. The phase disruptors had reached its core, altering the very principles on which it operated. The High Council's forms began to destabilize as their ancient technology evolved beyond their control. You face a choice, Blackwood continued. Adapt or perish. It's the same choice you denied to countless species over thousands of years. The galaxy is entering a new age, one of cooperation, innovation, and shared growth. There's a place for you in it, but not as masters. As equals. The Council's response was cut off by a massive energy surge. The station's core, transformed by the phase disruptors, had achieved a new state of existence. The rigid patterns of ancient technology had given way to something organic, alive. Remarkable. Catal whispered, analyzing the data. The station, it's becoming a bridge. Not just a physical bridge. Eldervira added, her eyes wide. A bridge between ways of thinking. Between the old and the new. The High Council's forms wavered, then began to change. The phase disruptors hadn't just affected the station. They had initiated a transformation in the Council members themselves, breaking them out of the stasis they had maintained for millennia. We, the first speaker's voice, had lost its resonance, becoming something more natural, more alive. We remember now what it was like to change, to grow. We had forgotten. Over the next several hours, as the station completed its transformation, representatives from across the galaxy arrived to witness the birth of a new era. The High Council, transformed by their own station's evolution, relinquished their position as absolute rulers. In their place, a new galactic federation began to form, one based on mutual growth and shared wisdom. Admiral Blackwood stood with her allies, watching as species that had been enemies under Confederation rule began to forge new bonds. Humanity's greatest contribution hadn't been military victory or technological innovation. It had been reminding the galaxy that change was not something to be feared, but embraced. So, Commander Hassan asked quietly, "What happens now?" Blackwood smiled, looking out at the transformed station, now a living symbol of evolution and adaptation. Now the real work begins. Building something new is always harder than destroying something old, but that's what makes it worthwhile. As Democracy's Light prepared to dock with the transformed station, Blackwood thought about the long journey that had brought them here. From first contact to final victory, humanity had maintained its most essential qualities: curiosity, adaptability, and the unshakable belief that tomorrow could be better than today. The age of the Confederation was over. The age of cooperation and shared growth was about to begin. And somewhere out there, in the vast darkness between the stars, new civilizations were emerging, ready to join a galaxy that would welcome their potential rather than fear it. The future, at last, was truly unlimited.